Hi folks, if you've never channel catfished in the summertime, you're missing out. In this video, I'm going to share with you everything you need to know to get started fishing for these channel catfish in the summertime. I'm Clay, and you're watching Respect the Fish YouTube channel. Alright folks, let's talk about summertime channel catfish. In the summertime, they spawn. They're one of the last fish to spawn, and they'll get up in rocks and stick-ups, and they'll make a nest, and they'll lay their eggs, and they'll spawn up in there, but they'll actually stay in the shallow water. What you want is 20% range cubes. You get them at Tractor Supply or any feed store. They come in about a 50-pound bag, and they're usually $6 to $10, something like that. What I did was I got up here in shallow water. Right now I'm in 4.5 foot of water around a bunch of cattails, as you can see behind me. And what I did was, on the deeper edge of this stuff, I'm on one of the deeper points of the cattails, which is about 4.5 foot deep. There's a lot of 2-3 foot stuff behind me. I got into this little pocket that's nice and wind protected, just to make it a little easier for me to fish. I threw range cubes out and just kind of scattered them in this little bitty circle area. I put all my bait in about a 10-foot area, so that way they would scatter out in this little pocket. And what I'm actually using a long 10-foot crappie pole by Wally Marshall. It's called the Slab Shaker, and I've been very happy with it. I was using some 7-foot poles, and I like the extra length because I'm not casting. I'm just literally throwing this little bobber rig out, and I'm catching fish after fish, and this 10-foot pole makes it even easier to adjust my depth to where I want it. What I have as far as gear, this is 8-pound line or 10-pound line, kind of a heavier crappie setup. I use a small bobber, the smallest one I could find at Academy. It's about the size of your pinky. The reason I like this small bobber is you're catching a lot of small fish, and this is very sensitive versus if you use a big bobber. I set the bobber where it presents my treble hook and my bait about 6 inches to a foot off the bottom. Probably don't need a weight, but I have one little BB weight on there. I'm using a number 6 treble hook. I've used a 3X treble hook, which is how strong they are, from Academy, and they bend real easy. Within a few fish, you're starting to bend the hook, or certainly every trip to maybe 2 hooks per trip, you're bending your hooks up and having to replace them. So I had to get on the internet. I bought a Mustad number 6 hook. It's 4X strong, and I have had 0 issues. I've caught hundreds of catfish on this one hook, and it's not bent at all. So I'd recommend that. You can use several stink bait styles where they're in a ball and you put it on your hook. There's dip baits like CJ's Dip Bait, Secret 7 Dip Bait by Team Catfish. All those seem to work real well, but I hated how stinky they made my hands. They would get on my hands would smell horrible for several days. My clothes would reek, my boat was nasty, my fishing rods were disgusting after using that stuff. But it did catch a lot of fish, so it's certainly a good option. What I've done instead is I make my own dough bait. I learned how to do this from Barefoot Bob, who you've seen in several of my videos, and I'll show you how to make the dough bait later on in this video. But I like it because it's catching as many fish as that stink bait, and it doesn't smell awful. It doesn't get your gear as nasty. So definitely would recommend this dough bait. It's worth trying. Let's talk about where you want to put your range cubes out at. You want to look for rocks in 4 to 7 foot of water, something like that. Also stick-ups, as you see behind me, all these cattails. That has been a very good area. So look for shallow water, 4 to 7 foot deep, something of that nature. And then try to find stick-ups with cattails, brush, rocks, that sort of thing. And throw your range cubes out, up to half a bag, I would say, in an area. But a lot of times a gallon or 2 is all you need. And I like to spread it out, but not very much. I want it to be kind of tight, but I don't want it to be so tight that if I cast, a foot over, I'm not catching fish. I want to be kind of spreading out over a general area, maybe a 10-foot circle. It doesn't take long to attract the fish. I let my bait this morning soak for maybe 15-20 minutes, the chum, and as soon as I started throwing my hook in, immediately I was catching fish already, just after 15 minutes or so, and their bellies were full of the bait, full of the chum. So I just dipped my bait into the punch bait that I made. It's a homemade punch bait. I'm going to show you how to make that in this video. All right. Just like that. Just drop the bait in the water. Within seconds, I already have a channel catfish on there. This is a smaller one. At this lake, I'm allowed to keep up to 50 per person with no minimum length limit. But they don't let 5 fish over, I think, 20 inches, which is about 10 pounds. What's cool about these channel cats, once you catch them, you'll notice their belly is just plumb full of that range cube. They're in here eating all that. Makes for good fishing. We're keeping them today. I don't care how small they are. I'm keeping them today because I'm going to throw them in my dad's tank and stock it for him. Ah. You're gonna have a lot of fish that take the bobber under the water and you don't hook up on them, because by chumming the water, you're gonna draw in a lot of 4, 5, 6 inch fish. You're gonna catch a lot of them, but there's gonna be a lot that grab the hook and don't get hooked up. What I've started to do is put very minimum bait on my hook. That way when they grab it, they're having to grab that hook. Their little mouth isn't grabbing the bait and not the hook. If they grab that bait, they're grabbing the hook. Look at that. Just non-stop action. Nothing big. You're not catching your personal best doing this, but you sure are putting some numbers in the boat, and it's a lot of fun. It's a good way to take your kids fishing. A lot of little bitty fish, just like that. About 6 to 8 inches, something like that. Back to back to back. When a fish hits it, just make sure you don't jerk the bait. Keep steady pressure on it. That's actually one of the better ones. But if you jerk the hook, there's just no point in it. You're gonna hook somebody with your treble hook, and I don't think you're going to catch more fish because of jerking the hook. Just like that, folks, over and over again, you can catch these fish. You may catch 200-300 of them if you sit here long enough. One thing I've noticed is that the fish seem to hang out with the other fish the same size. So if you're catching a lot of 6 and 8 inch fish, one thing you may want to do is just go try to fish a different area, and eventually you're going to find some keeper size. You excited to catch fish?
Yeah, I can hear some fish under the boat, I think.
You can hear them already?
Yeah. I saw one!
No way!
Yep.
You saw a big fish?
Right below the boat.
Right below the boat? Oh no. Yeah, catch him.
Yeah, so he gets on the boat. Oh my gosh, there's another one over there.
Oh my, they're making. We're about to catch some. You ready?
Hold on, wait, let me see how many fish on the sonar. It says there are 76 fish on Aroas.
Yeah? Go under the water.
And the bubbles goes under the water and that's another fish.
Here he is. There's a fish. You got him? Pull him up. Pull him up. Oh, he's got a big one. Look at him. Wow! Look at he.
He's like,
He's the flying fish. You did so good. You want to catch another one? Throw him with the other so we can stock Pop's tank. Here you go. Got one. Got one. Oh, look it up. Whoa! Where is he? He's way up there in the sky. Yeah! Dude, you caught another one. I want a big old high five. That is a good job. Look at that. Oh, he's gonna slap you.
You don't, hey, you don't mess with me.
There you go, you got it. Oh, he got off.
Wow. Wow. Look what I'm getting.
You caught 3 fish. You go pull up. Oh.
Hey, you piece of shit.
Looky there, Heath. He almost slapped you.
Hi, Deborah. Wow.
What do you think about that fish? Can you say hi to your YouTube friends?
Hi, baby.
Yeah! Hey everyone, today I'm going to be making some punch bait for channel catfishing. What he uses is all-purpose flour. He uses 2 pounds of it. He said it can't be gluten-free. He said if you use gluten-free, it doesn't seem to stick very well and the fish don't like it as much. So I have all-purpose flour. I'm going to use 2 pounds of that. I got some oatmeal and I'm going to use 2 pounds of that. I have brown sugar. And I'm going to use 1 pound of that, so 2 pounds flour, 2 pounds oatmeal, 1 pound brown sugar. We're going to use about a fourth to a third of vanilla extract. Then we're going to add about 2 to 3 big scoops of peanut butter. And then we're going to add 1 packet of strawberry jello. It can't be sugar-free, it has to be the regular jello. Sugar-free just doesn't seem to attract the fish as much. So here we go, we're going to mix that, and then we're going to add just a little bit of water to get the consistency we like. Here we go. So we got flour here, this is 5 pounds, I'm going to use half of this. Add some brown sugar. About half of the bag, which is about a pound. Add the Jell-O packet. Vanilla extract. And peanut butter. I'm adding water very slowly so I get the consistency I want. If it gets too liquidy, you can always add more flour and oats to thicken it up, but mainly the flour will thicken it up. I'm just using a stir stick from a paint. Looking really good. I think I about got it. So in all that formula, in all that recipe I just gave you, I used about 2 water bottles worth of water, and that's real close to what it needs to be. It's thick. I think any more it'd get too thin. All right, there we got it. So in all that, I added about 2 to 2.5 water bottles worth of water. And I like how it is. It's real thick. It's stuck to that paint stick. You see that? Real thick. That ought to stick to a hook real well. Barefoot Bob has told me he's won carp fishing tournaments with this stuff, as well as caught a bunch of catfish. So you may want to give this a try if you want to do something different, not have a bunch of stinky bait in your boat. Try making this punch bait and see what it does. Leave a comment below. Let me know if it helps you. Let me know how many fish you're catching with it. All right, for cleaning these catfish, you got a couple of options. There's their ribs right here. You could start right here and just fillet that part and just don't even mess with the ribs. Because we didn't catch a whole lot of big fish like this, I'm going to clean them with the ribs and show you how. So I start right there, go down until I hit its spine. Then I'm going to turn and make it hug the backbone. Then you can flip it over. And now that's a good fillet of meat, but you got the ribs right there, so I gotta fillet those out. And there you go, there's a fillet of meat. That's one side. Just like that. There you go, there's a fillet of fish.